YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and the NFL schedules are out for the 2021 season, all confirmed. And in this video, I'm going through each and every single NFL week here and giving you the best game in each of those weeks. So all 18 weeks, we got one game for each. Thought a little outside the box on some of these. Most of them, obviously, obvious big-time matchups, maybe playoff implications, division title implications, and more. So we're going to break these down. Obviously, it's kind of preference opinion, so you can kind of play along, do your own in the comments. We'll do other videos like this. I would definitely want to look through all the schedules still, team by team, and I'm going to decide who I think has the hardest, easiest schedule. And then we'll get on to season predictions, record predictions, full playoff, all of that. Cannot wait to do that. Join us here. Like, subscribe. A lot of videos, a lot of draft videos, post-draft, winners, losers, grades. Follow our Twitter at GoatHouseNFL, constant NFL updates, channel updates. Much appreciated if you can check it out. Link down below for anything you need. Yeah, here's our Twitter at GoatHouseNFL. Check it out. Link down below. Week 1, best game in Week 1. You thought I was going to go maybe with the Cowboys-Bucks. Got to go Browns-Chiefs, though, even though Cowboys-Bucks is prime time. Browns-Chiefs kind of starts the late afternoon window in Week 1. Rematch from the playoff game. I think the Browns are only getting better. You know, you can argue both these teams are only getting better, which is scary. The Browns just really got going late last year. They had a good shot to beat the Chiefs in that game. I really didn't give them too much of a chance, to be honest, in that game. I know Mahomes went down, but the Browns, be able to come back. It didn't really feel like a come-from-behind team, so they prove they can do that. They prove they can play with the big boys here. And I think they're getting better. They feel like a very complete team. What they added on defense, ridiculous. Secondary is looking way stronger than it did last year. Maybe the linebacker unit as well. And then you got the Chiefs who, they go to the Super Bowl as expected pretty much. And a big reason why they lost, the Buccaneers were very good, but the Chiefs' offensive line was depleted. Not only do they get healthy on the offensive line, they get better. So, these teams are actually better. It's a heavyweight battle in Week 1. I can't wait for this late afternoon game. Week 2, I'm going to go Cowboys Chargers. It might be a little bit surprised here because I think you got Ravens Chiefs. That game is never the greatest matchup, in terms of the actual matchup. The Ravens definitely could beat the Chiefs for sure, not saying otherwise, but the Ravens are used to running a lot of man coverage. Man coverage is not what you run against the Chiefs, so let's see if they switch things up this year. That's why it never really ends up being the best matchup, even though they're two heavyweights. But I went Cowboys Chargers just because I think this is going to be in Week 2, I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. Absolute shootout. Cowboys, you expect them healthy at this point, and that's a shootout type team. Very strong offense, quarterback, Dak's when he's healthy, playing at a high level. They got a running game. They got a great offensive line when healthy, and the receiver unit's fantastic. So high-powered offense. The Chargers, I think, will be a high-powered offense as well. They got weapons. Justin Herbert was excellent last year. Hopefully there's no sophomore slump. He keeps going. I think the defense of the Chargers could actually, by the end of the year, kind of could be known as maybe the best, maybe one of the best. But I do think it's not going to start right away. They do rely on a little bit of pass rush from Joey Bosa perhaps there. But I think in Week 2 here, the way these teams align next to each other here, match up with each other, absolute shootout. Maybe one of the shootouts of the year in Week 2. Week 3, I'm going to go Buccaneers Rams. You look at somewhat late last season, the Rams gave the Buccaneers all sorts of troubles, and that was with Jared Goff. Now they got Matthew Stafford, so the Rams are even better. They're considered one of the top Super Bowl contenders, especially from the NFC, and now they're playing the former Super Bowl winner here in the Buccaneers. Since the Buccaneers played the Rams, remember, Rams gave them some trouble. The Buccaneers got better. Obviously, they got a lot better, and they're kind of known as the best team to start this year. But then the Rams, again, gave them some matchup problems. Now they have Stafford. I'm really looking forward to see how that matchup is, if it's different since the Bucs got better since then, since Stafford's now the quarterback for the Rams, so they got better since then. Really looking forward to that. But, yeah, that defense gave Brady some big-time problems. We'll see what happens in Week 3 with a heavyweight matchup. Week 4, you probably expected me to go with the Patriots and the Bucs. Excited for that one, but it's really just Tom Brady versus old team. It's going to be a good game because I think the Patriots got a damn good roster. But I don't want to focus on, sometimes I did here and there in this video, but just Tom Brady versus old team. That's the main thing there. I love this matchup in Week 4, the Browns versus the Vikings. Stefanski versus old team, but it's much more than that. These are the same exact offenses. These offenses are the same exact. and they both very much improved their defense this year. So really excited to see them. But yeah, both these teams are going to pound the football, open up the play action pass. And you look at last year, I still think most of the world, if you polled most of the world, that people would probably say Kirk Cousins is better than Baker Mayfield. But we saw Baker Mayfield in that Kirk Cousins style offense last year. And I was talking about during the year that, he might be running it better just because his ability to make the play go quicker, mainly because of his feet, especially on the bootlegs. So it's a statement game, I think, for Baker Mayfield here. Stefanski, coaching against his former team. Maybe they should have gave him a better job, earlier on. But I know Zimmer was locked into the head coaching job. But I think these teams are pretty damn balanced. If you look at each unit across the board, Myles Garrett versus Daniel Hunter, Kirk Cousins versus Baker Mayfield, Dalvin Cook versus Nick Chubb, and then you got OBJ, Jarvis Landry versus Thielen and Justin. It's ridiculous what we got going here. Now he can match some things in the secondary too. With the Browns adding the secondary, getting John Johnson versus Harrison Smith. It's all over the place here. So I think the Browns are a more complete team, but they're pretty damn even teams here. So it's going to be a lot of fun there in Minnesota in Week 4. Week 5, Bills and Chiefs. So AFC Championship rematch. You guys know I had to go with that one here. We talked about the Chiefs. I like them in Week 1 against the Browns. I like that matchup. And I was talking about the Chiefs. They got better. I think they got better because Mahomes, believe it or not, could be getting better. We'll see. They got young guys stepping up, but the offensive line is where they really improved. They also had Jaron Reed on defense, but could the Bills be getting better? They don't really look much different on paper. I love they added some big-time pass rushers in the draft, so they should be better by that. Some young guys stepping up as well, but does Josh Allen, could he actually get better as well? So this is going to be an interesting matchup. See how different they are from that AFC Championship game to Week 5 here in this NFL season. Back-to-back Bills games. I thought it was weird that they're away on both these games. That's unfortunate for the Bills. That's tough. That's tough for the Bills that they're away against the Chiefs and then the next week against the Titans. Last year when these teams played, it was that weird game on Tuesday because the whole Titans COVID situation. So it could be a little revenge game for the Bills, losing that game and maybe, being put in an awkward situation. Also, though, the Bills were pretty damn dominant most of the regular season, especially after this game, it felt like, just really dominant. They were the hottest team in football going to the playoffs. Because of their regular season stretch there. But the Titans really gave them problems. They gave Josh Allen problems. They were kind of disguising some coverages, giving some trap coverages, and they were making him – he wasn't playing good. So was it – here's the question here. Did the Bills just get better after that? I think they did. Or is it some kind of matchup problem with this Titans defense? Are they able to game plan with the Bills? It could be a mixture of both. The Bills could have just got a lot better. Titans did improve their defense this year. So I'm really looking forward to this game again to see what's different from last year. Every year is definitely different. You can't really base things off the year before, but it's always a cool storyline to see change just a year later, which there will be, but in what ways. So excited about that one. It's tough that the Bills are away on both those games, though, in a row. That's pretty damn tough. Week 7, kind of a random game that I just really like for some reason here is the Colts and the 49ers. I like these defenses going at it. I really like these defenses going at it. Hopefully the 49ers are healthy here. And then we'll see Carson Wentz versus which quarterback for 49ers. I kind of think at this point Trey Lance will be starting, so we might actually see – that's kind of a bonus here. It's not why I put it on here, but we actually could see the North Dakota State quarterbacks going at it. First year playing on these teams, of course, first year in the league for Trey Lance. But pretty similar teams. So I think they'll want to run the ball first, both these teams. Heavyweight offensive lines for the most part. Colts a little more. I think they both got a deep receiver class or receiver units. Maybe no star. Debo can be, but I think they're pretty similar in what their units look like, in my opinion. Look at the defense, the way they're ran there. I think they're pretty damn similar. You go DeVorest Buckner versus old team. In this game, it's going to be, who can run the ball better or who can get the most pressure on the quarterback and create that turnover, because there'll probably be a quarterback turnover in this game. So I think there's just kind of even matchups everywhere. You look at each position, each unit group, they're kind of built the same, really, and they try to play the same way. So really like that matchup in Week 7. Week 8, Buccaneers versus Saints. First time Jameis Winston is going to, we think, start against his former team of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it's the first time these two, the heavyweights from last year, are going at it in a rematch. When the Saints just dominated the Buccaneers in the regular season, and the Buccaneers got the best of them in the biggest game of the for them in the year. In that playoff game. So what is it gonna be like here in the regular season again? It's gonna go back towards the Saints, but it's Jameis Winston. How will Winston be against the Buccaneers? Is it a revenge game for him? So really excited about this one. Big time storylines on this one. So that one had to make the list there. Week 9, got to go Packers Chiefs. It's gonna be a lot of fun for sure. You see what most people believe is the best player in football, I would say, Patrick Mahomes, versus which everyone thought was the best player in football last year, the MVP, the reigning MVP, and Aaron Rodgers. If he plays, I expect him to. A lot of people don't. But Aaron Rodgers versus Patrick Mahomes, heavyweight battle here. Maybe at this point the top team in the NFC versus the top team in the AFC. It's an obvious one. It had to be on here. So really looking forward to that here. Looking forward to see if there's any difference in the Packers defense. I hope they kind of keep the schemes similar, just different calls, obviously, because they did make a change at the defensive coordinator. So looking forward to that as well for the Packers. And we already talked about the changes on the Chiefs' offensive line there. Packers got some changes there as well. Moving on, Week 10, Rams 49ers. For some reason, the Rams just can't beat the 49ers. McVay can't beat Shanahan, but now you upgrade. No more Goff, who seems to turn the ball over a ton in those games, maybe resulting in that happening a lot. Now they got Matthew Stafford taking on the 49ers, and I guess it'd be a big storyline to see who the 49ers quarterback is at this point as well. But and we'll see if they're healthy. It's a team that's kind of the one. We know they're going to be good. It's just the one thing you kind of worry about a little bit with the 49ers, but hopefully full healthy game here, and we got maybe change for specifically the Rams versus the 49ers for the Rams because they changed quarterbacks. So is it just the Niners, Shanahan-McVay thing? Did the Rams really upgrade? I think a big test in a division game that could decide a lot. Maybe a big game here, obviously, for the division there, the NFC West. Week 11, kind of a random one, but I went with Ravens-Bears. I like this one a lot. A team that I think the Ravens are playing a lot of teams this year that just haven't had the opportunity there, the privilege to deal with Lamar Jackson. I feel like the Ravens have been playing some teams. Okay, this team's seen Lamar before. This team, a lot of teams haven't really seen him. So this is an interesting matchup. I kind of actually look back to, and then a big storyline here is will Justin Fields be on the field to take on, he's not a run-first quarterback, but we could see some damn athletic quarterbacks in this class or in this game with Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields. But something I noticed last year, there was a stretch of the Bears season last year where the defense was kind of like, what happened to the defense? This isn't the Bears defense. And they go and play the Texans and Deshaun Watson, and they dominate him. They dominate the Texans. They dominate Deshaun Watson. They take his game away from him. And that was like the elite. It was a flashback of the elite not too long ago, Bears defense. And the big reason is they contained him. They didn't let him outside the pocket. They didn't let him scramble. They didn't let him run. Lamar Jackson's a little bit different of an animal, obviously, when it comes to running. But if they are just good at having that game plan, they could be the team that causes problems for a guy like Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, perhaps. But it's also a unique matchup because I don't know if the Bears have really they dealt with Deshaun Watson. That was about it. So it's definitely an interesting matchup. We'll see if we see Justin Fields as well. I think, you start to put the Bears in the conversation. These are big games here in Week 11, so there's more of a shot. We see him perhaps. But at the same time, I think it's either they start in Week 1 or maybe they don't go at all with Justin Fields. So we will see. Back-to-back Ravens game. This is a primetime game here, night ball game, Week 12. Remember the game last year? Maybe not only the game of the year, one of the best games in NFL history, that primetime game. Browns versus Ravens. Lamar Jackson's got to go in the locker room or the bathroom, whatever it is, comes back. It's just a ridiculous, historic game there. So prime time, the first time these two teams meet, the night game, it's got to be it here. It's got to be it. The Browns versus the Ravens, two teams that you expect. The Browns you definitely expect to get better. We talked about that. Young team improving, new coaches last year, improved the defensive secondary, so they're definitely getting better. The Ravens, we kind of looking at their roster earlier in the offseason, not doing much in free agency, losing some guys. On paper, are they getting worse, even though they got guys like Lamar getting better? But then they do a pretty damn good job in the draft. They actually had Rashad Bateman and company there and crew. So it feels like they actually are better, along with other guys developing. So especially at Week 12 here, this is playoff football, playoff implications. AFC North title implications. These are expected to be the top two teams. You never know. That's a huge game right there. That's a huge game. Week 13, I had to go with Herbert versus Burrow. We didn't get to see it last year. Week 1, we were all excited about that, but then Herbert didn't get the nod. It was Tyrod Taylor. Herbert, I don't know what the Chargers saw. Maybe they were they already decided that Herbert's just not going to play Week 1, but there was night and day between Herbert and Tyrod. Well, I guess we didn't see enough of Tyrod Taylor, but we get to see Herbert, and Burrow is back healthy. Hopefully they're healthy in this game. I expect them to be, and I think both, especially Week 13. Week 13, I think this is the time where the Chargers really get there, because new coaches, Herbert's getting better, really get their identity on offense. They really get going. Bengals, same thing. They're trying to get the offensive line in order. Joe Burrow's kind of getting back healthy. They're getting the running game going. They got Jamar Chase out there, so the receiver unit's getting better. I think this is right where the offenses are in full effect, really, and we finally get to see that Herbert versus Burrow bowl there. So that's a nice one here in Week 13. Bengals could be sneaky. Chargers, tough division. They can be very sneaky. It's pretty. They got both these teams. They're not talked about a lot. But they, especially the Bengals. I'm not saying the Bengals are going to contend or anything like that, but they got some studs across their team. They got high-powered players, really, that can make big-time plays, and people don't really talk about that enough. I think most people realize the Chargers have that, but maybe not, maybe overshadowed by the other AFC West teams. So this could be a heavyweight offensive game. I guess it's going to depend on the offensive lines a lot, because both these offensive lines could let the offense down, really. Probably more so the Bengals, but we'll see. Week 14, going Cowboys, Washington football team. This could decide a division right here. We also can throw the Giants and sure the Eagles in the mix, but I think this game right here could decide who wins this division. The Cowboys will have the high-powered offense of let's say the NFC East, or maybe the NFC. Washington will have the high-powered, the dominant defense of the NFC East, but maybe the NFC, maybe the entire NFL. So this will be offense versus defense, playoff implications, NFC East title implications on the line here. Hopefully the teams are healthy, because you do worry about the Cowboys' health at this point of the season, but it's going to be a lot on the line. Offense versus defense, what will win this big game? What will, you always wonder, offense versus defense, which sometimes, one wins in regular season. Sometimes it was like, okay, the defense was the reason they won the playoff game, or the opposite. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this one and what decides the NFC East here. Week 15, going Packers, Ravens. Yeah, another team that's going to be interesting to see. The Packers have to deal with Lamar Jackson finally here. Interesting, too, because the Packers have been the teams when the teams that just run the crap out of the ball, the Packers have consistently won, been consistently a very good team, but not against the teams that have, like I was saying, that run the crap out of the ball. Those are the teams that just sneak up on the Packers and beat them good, except last year in the freezing cold, they played the Tennessee Titans, and you expect, well, this might be one of those games, where they just can't stop the run here, and they dominated, it felt like, Tennessee Titans, because they just kept scoring, and you just don't allow the keep up. You don't allow the team to keep up with their running game. Does the same thing happen here against the Ravens, or is Lamar Jackson, that speedy rushing attack, just too much for the Packers, like it has been shown, in other matchups in the past? So just a lot kind of going back and forth on this one. Just two heavyweight teams, possibly at this point, best or one of the best NFC teams, or the best or one of the best AFC teams. So interesting matchup, to say the least. Week 16, Packers back-to-back here, because this is a Christmas Day ball game. That's a lovely Christmas Day ball game. Same thing, similar matchup with the Titans as last year. The Packers, in the cold, just like the Ravens game as well. This one's going to be in the cold on Christmas in Lambeau. The Packers got the advantage for that reason. Sometimes the run first, the dominant run teams can dominate the Packers. But if the Packers just get rolling on offense, they put those teams away. You play catch up, so it's the same thing, kind of go back and forth. It's going to be a fantastic Christmas game. It's going to be about what defense steps up and makes that big time play there. So really looking forward to this Christmas game here this year in 2021, week 17. I wasn't in love, honestly, with a lot of this weeks. I'm sure that I will be when we get there, but Week 17 games, I ended up picking up the Dolphins and the Titans. I think a pretty interesting matchup. There could be, the Titans may need to win this game to win the AFC South. or maybe lock themselves in a wild card at least. The Dolphins maybe battling for that AFC East spot, but trying to fight. I probably at this point to secure in AFC playoff, a wild card playoff spot there. Just can't wait to see where Tua is at this point of the season. Maybe these receivers are too much for the Titans. Remember, teams were able to, even though the Dolphins had a good defense, teams were able to run pretty well on them. Now they face Derrick Henry, so there's kind of matchups siding both sides there. So, really looking forward to that one there in Week 17. Definitely an interesting one. Week 18, they're able to flex a Week 18 game. They left that open. I think it'd probably be this one, just based on that game. One of the best games of last year. Hopefully these teams are in playoff contention at this point. They should be. I really think at Week 18 we could see the whole NFC West in playoff contention, trying to fight in. Not all of them are going to get in, but teams are trying to fight in. The beauty of the NFC West there. It's going to be fantastic here in Week 18. This game, the primetime game last year, where there was Seahawks were absolutely dominant, but the Cardinals were showing up. Hey, we can play too. Ends up going to overtime. Just gives you flashbacks to that. One of the best games of last year. So this could be the one flexed of the prime time, but there's going to be a lot on the line in this game. Russell Wilson versus Kyler Murray. Just an epic battle. Absolute shootout last year. At least the first time around. And I think it could be the same thing in this game. I think it just could be all offense. The Cardinals did improve their defense, though. So if they're healthy, Watt, Chandler Jones, that could be the difference in this one. But, yeah, I thought this was an easy choice for Week 18 here, the new week, last week of the NFL season. These are all my favorite games, best games in my opinion for each week. Some of them got outside the box there a little bit. It's all preference, opinion. You can comment your favorite games each week in the comments. We'll do more videos like this. We'll talk about who has the hardest schedule, easiest schedule, things like that. We'll get into season predictions very soon. But that is going to do it for this one. Follow the Twitter, like, subscribe, all that. Be much, much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.